Okay, our second example says the hypotenuse of a right triangle is 17 centimeters long. Another side of the triangle is 7 centimeters longer than the third side, and then determine the unknown side lengths. Well, now let's think about what we need in this case. So I'm going to read the question again. The first time you read a question gives you a gist of what the question is about. The second time you read it, you can get more information. So the hypotenuse of a right triangle, so I have a right triangle, is 17 centimeters long. Since I know what kind of triangle I'm looking at, maybe I can start by drawing a picture, and I can label some of the sides. So there I have a right angle triangle, and I know that the hypotenuse is 17 centimeters long. And then I'm told another side of the triangle is 7 centimeters longer than the third side. So if one of the sides is x, then the third side would be x plus 7. 7 centimeters longer means I'm adding 7 to one of the side lengths. And then it tells me to determine the unknown side lengths. So what I'm actually looking for are the unknown side lengths. So I need to find unknown side lengths. In order to find the unknown side lengths, what I actually need to find is the values of x. I need to solve for x. Well, because I'm not looking for a max or a min, I know that I am going to need a quadratic equation this time. So what that means is I'm not going to have dependence between two variables. I'm only going to have one variable, and in this case, the variable I'm going to have is just an x. I don't have to worry about having a y or having a p or any other variable. The only variable I need is x. So now what I need to think about is a relationship that can actually combine the three side lengths of a right angle triangle. The relationship that I know I can use is Pythagorean theorem. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And what I'm going to do is substitute in the information I know. It doesn't matter which side represents a and b as long as it's one of the shorter sides. C has to be the longest side, or the hypotenuse in the triangle. So if I substitute in my values, I have x squared plus x plus 7 squared equals equals 17 squared. And if I simplify this, I have x squared plus, when you're squaring a binomial, please be careful. There is a middle term that will exist, so don't forget to include the middle term. Oftentimes, students write x squared plus 49, and you forget the middle term. There is a middle term that will exist. If you think you're the kind of person who will forget, then no problem. Do the expansion on the side so that you don't forget that when you do x plus 7 squared, that this means x plus 7 times x plus 7. And when you expand this, you get x squared plus 7x plus 7x plus 49. And so the expanded form here actually has a middle term. Okay, so let's go back up here. And so the expanded form of x plus 7 squared is x squared plus 14x plus 49. And that's going to equal 17 squared, which I believe is 289. Yep. And then what I'm going to try to do is get everything on one side so that I can actually solve for x. Okay? And so what I get here is 2x squared plus 14x. And if I bring over the 289, it becomes negative. So minus 240 when I combine it with the 49. And that's going to equal 0. So I did 49 minus 289 to get negative 240. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to solve this by factoring first, and then if it's not factorable, the other way I know how to solve an equation is to use a quadratic formula. So this will give me 2x squared plus 7x minus 120 equals 0. And so if I look at what I have inside the brackets now, this is a simple trinomial, and I know I can factor this. And again, this time don't forget to write equals 0 all along the side, because again you may make a small error. And I believe 15 times 8 multiplies to 120. And so if I have x plus 15 and x minus 8, that'll give me a product of negative 120 and a sum of positive 7. So what this means is I have three things that are being multiplied and giving me a result of 0. And there's no way that 2 can equal 0. So therefore, either x equals negative 15 from this factor, or x equals 8 from this factor. Okay, and because x represents a side length, and you'll notice that in this case I didn't introduce a let statement, and the reason for that is because I've indicated in this picture that x represents a side length. So you didn't have to say let x be the shorter side length, or let x and x plus 7 be the two sides of a triangle. You didn't have to indicate that because the picture already represents that. Okay, so if you're just saying something in words and you don't have a diagram, then you need to introduce a let statement. But if you have a diagram to indicate what your variables are representing, then you don't need a let statement. Okay, so because x represents a side length, we know that this is not possible. Okay, and the way we say not possible in math is inadmissible. That indicates that this solution cannot happen. And the reason for that is because you can't have a negative dimension. And so what that means is we only have one solution, and that solution is x is equal to 8. So now that we found the value of x, let's look back up at the question, and it asks us to find the unknown side lengths. And so we found one of the unknown side lengths. So x equals 8 is one unknown side length. The other one is x plus 7, which would equal 15. Okay, so therefore the unknown side lengths are 8 centimeters and 15 centimeters. And you can check your work by applying the Pythagorean theorem to this and seeing if a squared plus b squared still gives you c squared.